Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. How you doing? It's a victory, but hang on. Before we put all the bunching out, we haven't really won the war. It's just one little battle. Okay, we're only going to pay 10% on certain items, whereas the EU are paying 20. We're still going to pay 25% on luxury cars and luxury brands then to take it into America. We're still haven't won. Like I said, it's a precarious position. But this is a victory mainly for Brexit and Nigel Farage. And that's what the mainstream media don't want to tell you. This is all about Brexit. Donald Trump hates the European Union. How many times has he said just recently they only got set up to destroy America? He's wrong when he says that, but that's what he believes. He hates the EU. He thinks it's unaccountable. He thinks there's loads of waste. All of those things are true. I've been to the EU, nearly got into a fight there. And let me tell you, the waste was off the scale. I'm so glad we're out. But we never, ever really got out, did we? Because the establishment didn't listen to the people. So although we voted to leave, we've only left in name, which is why we've still got the human rights, why we've still got the boat people coming in, and why today a terrorist, somebody who they say is still a threat, is going to be let out. He's Captain Hook's best mate. Do you remember Abu Hamza? I've interviewed him a few times when I was on BBC London. Well, his mate, who helped plot those atrocities, he is going to be let out because he served 20 years. The Americans would like him to go and visit the States and stay there permanently. Captain Hook, of course, is in a unique position, isn't he? I think his cell is underground. That's the way to deal with terrorism. That's the way to deal with terrorism, not to let them out again. So I say there's still lots of work to do. And my controversial, if you want to call it controversial, suggestion is you've got to now let Nigel Farage work on the trade deal. Will Starmer do this? Will Starmer put the British people first for once, rather than the asylum seekers and all the feral, the feckless, the freeloaders, and the terrorists, because he's so into his human rights bullshit? Will he put us first, or will he continue the same way? He should drop, in my opinion, tribal politics. Farage has got a lot of faults, I know. You may want to talk about that. Bring him into the table, because you've only got a few weeks to get a deal sorted out. Let me make it clear. If we'd had a proper Brexit, we'd have a trade deal now with America, and it would be 0%. It'd be a free trade deal. We'd flog them stuff, they'd flog us stuff. And the reason we got 10% was, one, to stitch up the EU, I'm sure, but secondly, because we haven't got a surplus or a deficit. It's no real skin off Donald Trump's nose. We are in a good position. But people today heralding it, especially on the right, so heralding it as it's a wonderful victory. No, it's not. We're still paying too much. Our goods are going to be too expensive. It is going to lead to job losses, particularly in manufacturing. And everybody's going on about the headline figure, the 10%. The 25% is still there for motor cars, any cars built outside the United States of America. Trump was really tough last night. Did you like him with his board? He looked like a bookie, didn't he? You know, when he goes to the races and they're shouting out the odds. The drama, the theatre of it all, the theatricality of it was tremendous. And I'll tell you what it also reminded me. Do you remember, did you used to get, was it Shoot? Somebody will tell me in a minute. Was it Shoot magazine, the football magazine, where each year at the beginning of the season, they gave you those cardboard things to put on your wall, your bedroom wall, and little tabs where you put each club and then you move them up and down the league table during the season. To save time, I just put Coventry at the bottom, just above the relegation zone, as it was for 30 odd years. Do you know the thing I'm talking about? Anyway, but let's get back to my main point. I'm saying we need Farage. We need a free trade deal. I'm saying we've been betrayed, not just by Starmer, but the whole political class. It was almost our own revolution, wasn't it, Brexit? We, the people, said, we've had enough of this. we want out. They, the establishment, all of the politicians, didn't want it to happen, and they did everything in their power, along with their media chums, to stop it happening. But we won. I know by a small majority, but we won. Then Theresa May messed about because she didn't want to. No, first of all, of course, Cameron, I will abide by whatever the British public say, but then he runs off when he doesn't win, like a little bull, like the little posh boy on Radford Common, whose football it was. He was the only one who could afford a football. So when he didn't want to play, he took it off with him. Yeah. He needed a kick in too. So that was Cameron. Then Theresa May. Then Boris gave that kind of semi-compromise deal. And then there was all the messing around, which he's still coming now back to haunt us with Ireland. Are they in or are they out? The island of Ireland. Complete and utter cock-up. We voted for our sovereign state to be back. We voted for that quaint old idea that Tony Benn used to go on about. You want to vote for your politicians, then if you don't like them, you can vote them out. It's not the case in the EU. It was like Hotel California. You could check in, but you could never, ever check out. But we did. We did it against all the odds. We won. And of course, the architect mainly of that was Nigel Farage. And I see in the polls today, he's leading again. There's these 3 by-elections today, aren't there? They reckon he's going to hammer Labour. He will, and it won't just, they'll put it down to, oh, it's midterm blues, they've been in power 9 months. No. Let me tell you, there's a visceral hatred for Starmer. People absolutely hate him. And I tell you what's not doing Starmer any good. Have you seen these adverts they're putting up on Facebook and Twitter, X, whatever it's called, where they basically boast about what they've achieved? I just look at them and laugh. They're just complete and utter BS. They're worthy of North Korea. Our supreme leader can walk on water. You know? It'd be drowning, but it's like Comical Alley. Do you remember that? The Americans will never take Baghdad, and then behind them, the tanks are coming in. Well, that's what it's like with Labour. Somebody should tell them that doesn't work, mate. It just looks stupid. And this one where they constantly say, we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to get the job done. When we say we're going to do it, we do it. Yes? What do you think? So that's that. Starmer, though, has he now got the humility to put the British people first? Because the British people voted for Brexit. The British people achieved the best deal last night they could in the circumstances. And I really genuinely think we could get a free trade deal in the next few weeks. It'll take longer than that to get everything sorted out. But in principle, Donald Trump is open to a deal. And it's so obvious the way he did it last night that he wants a deal with most countries. But he's saying, I'm the big boy. You're going to have to fall in line. Well, kind of when he's paying for everything, that's okay, isn't it? When he's paying to protect us in Europe, when he's paying to protect Zelensky, when he's fighting every proxy war on behalf of other people, does he not have a right to say, I'd like to do it this way? Yes, and of course he's playing it up, he's hamming it up. But what Starmer needs to do now, because I've done that picture today, I don't know if you've seen the graphic for today's broadcast. It's basically Farage and Trump laughing their duck off and Starmer not knowing what to do. It must have surprised him last night, the 10%. But it was no accident. And there was even the BBC suggesting it was Starmer's brilliant negotiation team that has brought this about. No, what Trump is doing the deal. He's putting Britain into a position, us, the UK, because he actually said the EU rip us off. That's what he said. He's putting us in a position where he'll try and get a deal with us and blank out the EU. And then this is the next bonus. This only came to me this afternoon. I was walking the dog, went for a beautiful walk through the nature reserve today. Super. Got my head in place. It was great. But, I'm going to tell you about the seedlings later. There's been developments. But came to me. If I was a company, a multinational company, and I had headquarters or offices in, say, Dublin, and let's face it, the Irish have been stitching us up like this for years, even all the way back to the Celtic Tiger economy, which collapsed. They offered people zero tax. People like Apple, people like Google, they all went and worked there, didn't they? Well, what? You too. You too. They never paid any tax. That bloody hypocrite guy, Bonehead, whatever his name is. Anyway, we could do the same. We could say to these big companies, come to Britain. Even at the moment, you're only going to get 10%. If you relocate, it's going to be 10% because that's what it is in the UK. You stay in the Republic, you're going to be paying 20 because you're in EU. But what if we got a free trade deal? It'd be even more attractive. Imagine the amount of jobs that would come in. But also, we've got to get on top of this motoring deal. This 25% will cripple the big luxury brands, Jaguar, Rolls-Royce or whatever. We don't sell many normal cars. Americans prefer to buy their own or buy Japanese. But he's really put that on the Japs as well. Sorry, the Japanese, hasn't he, as well? But we've got an advantage here. We've got a Brexit advantage, and we've got to play it. And Starmer, you've got to accept that Nigel Farage is got to be part of your deck of cards because he knows Trump so well. If anybody disagrees with me, please get on the comments because I'm coming to your comments any minute now. But I'm saying everybody's celebrating today as if we've won a great... We haven't. We're still paying 10%. It's still going to cripple jobs. Have you seen what's happened with our stock market? It'll come back. It always does. But world stock markets are going down as well. We've got to be in a position where we're in bed with Trump. I've said this so many times right from the beginning. What was the point of the coalition of the useless? It was just to wind Trump up. I'm glad to see that Starmer, because he's obviously bricking himself and he hasn't got a clue what to do, but he's saying, we're not going to retaliate. We're going to think about what to do. But there's a story coming out this afternoon. They're looking at all the products that they could whack charges on. We can't get into a war with the United States of America. Grow up. So whoever's saying to him, let's take him on, you and all your mates will have them, Trump will just hammer us economically. He'll immediately put it up to 20%, maybe 40%. We've got to work with him. We should have got a trade deal ages ago. Let's get in bed with Trump now. Starmer's made a mistake. He's not done it. He's had his coalition of the useless. He's strutted about as if he's a statesman. Now it's time to show real humility. But he's not showing humility by saying, I'm not going to react straight away. He's still trying to be Billy Big Boots. I don't react on a whim. I do this. You've got no choice. You've got to lose. We are the losers in this because we're not the biggest country. China might be able to retaliate. Perhaps you could argue some of the other countries could retaliate, but that's just going to escalate and escalate a trade war. It's nonsense. We're in a unique position. We're a sovereign country. But let me tell you what I do want. I don't just want the trade deal. I want this to be a change of policy so that Starmer puts Brits first, me and you, regardless of the colour of our skin or our religion, puts us first. British jobs for British people. British laws for British people. Terrorist scum locked up for good. Foreign criminals, 13,000 of them in our prisons. Deport them immediately. Close down the migration hotels immediately. Put up tents. Look after our boys, our troops. I've had such a massive reaction to that little tweet I put up. Not a little tweet, a little video. It's a clip of my show where I'm talking about homeless people on the streets, veterans screaming at the top of their voices. They deserve houses before somebody who gets out of a rubber dinghy at Dover. And that's not being inhumane. That's just being logical. We've got to put our people first. What we should learn is, do you know, like last night when he had those workers there, the car workers there, and he was basically saying, I understand your frustration, because you want to work in the car industry. Your cars, your factories have all been closed down. They've all moved to Mexico or they've moved to Japan, wherever they've gone to, Taiwan. And, you know, like the computer disc, when he kept saying we were number one at one point and now we're nowhere. He's trying to bring those people back. American jobs for American people. American products for American people. We've got to be the same. I'm not saying we want to go back to that useless campaign, Buy British, because most of our stuff was crap. But we're in quite a good position anyway, aren't we? Because we don't really make much now. That's another reason why it's 10%. Let's get through. You've got to cut through all the nonsense that the mainstream media is telling you, because they don't want to say it's a victory for Brexit. They don't want us to be separate to Europe. They don't want us to be isolationists. They don't want us to put Brits first. Most of those people, I'd even go so far as Starmer, because he was such a Remainer. I think he hates our country. He loves being European. He loves being European, which is fine. I'm English, British, and European. I love Europe. Always remember when I had a lunch with Nigel Farage, and he said, yeah, when they accused me, it's the first time he'd used this line, when they accused me of being a racist or anti-European, he said, they're mad. He said, I've swum and drunk in lakes of Rioja, the amount I've drank over the time. He isn't racist. He isn't any of those things they want to paint him as. But don't we, or can't we see what Trump has done? I know it's a much bigger country. He's put Americans first. He's closed down the loophole of how people are getting into the country. I was reading today about these kebab shops. Kebab shops, the length and breadth of Britain. The reason why there's so many, they're not trying to sell you a kebab. They're there because then they can sign a form and it's self-governing saying, oh, so-and-so's coming in, they're a kebab chef. I remember this about Birmingham 3 or 4 years ago. There was a shortage of Balti chefs. Oh, what are we going to do? Oh, we'll get a load more in from Pakistan. And then I just made the point. I can't remember which radio station on. I got in trouble for it. I said, well, can't they train anybody who's not from Pakistan? It can't be that difficult to learn how to cook a Balti, can it? Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's this nonsense. And these people were exploiting the system. So with the kebab shops, it's like the barbers, they get these people in. I think it's 500 quid or something. They get in and then they're a skilled worker and they can stay. They don't carry on working in the kebab shop. They just got citizenship. Oh, eventually get it. And then they get their family in. This is wrong. This is an abuse of the system. So I want Farage in there. I want a free trade deal. And I want us to tighten our borders. All those things I've just said. And I'd even go so far as to say we need an ID card. I know lots of people are against the digital. Well, get rid of the digital ID. Let's just have a card. So somebody can say, can I see your papers? Because there's so many millions of people in the country who shouldn't be here. It's a little inconvenience. I don't think it's Big Brother, that. By the way, if you're liking the show, please press the like button and do that even if you're listening or watching later. If you're listening to a podcast version of this thing, don't forget we do it live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, live at 7. It's a new thing I've started this week, but you don't have to watch it live. You can watch it afterwards or you can listen to it afterwards. That's the whole idea of the way I'm trying to make this work. And I want to just thank everybody who's been telling everybody about it and indeed promoting it. It's great. Thank you very much indeed. And also thank you to everyone who's buying me a beer, because we've now changed it. It still says buy me a coffee, but it's a beer token now. Minimum donations are £5. Somebody said to me yesterday after the show, can't you reduce it to 3 quid or 2 quid? Then you'd get more. I couldn't quite work out what he meant. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. I think a £5 is cheap. And I'm not going to cheapen myself in a kind of rush to the bottom. I don't want to do that. I'm sorry. I don't. Oh, and somebody else told me you can also give me money via Facebook. A couple of people have done that over the last day or two. I don't really understand it, but it's on Facebook anyway. Right. No, YouTube. I do apologize. I think Facebook wrote to me, wanting me to do it, but that's something different. All right. Let's take some calls. Calls. Don't get above yourself, John. Update on the seedlings coming up. Jackie Ward says Starmer won't use Farage. I just can't see it, John. Just can't see it happening. By the way, happy birthday, Nigel Farage. Is it his birthday today? Oh, right, okay. Thorn Moore, reform is the solution. Labour is the problem. Yeah, but careful, Thorn. I think you're falling in a bit to the trap of tribalism. If I'm asking for Starmer to drop that nonsense, we've got to be able to do that as well. I don't think he will. I agree with Jackie. I don't think he will, because I don't actually think he wants a deal. I think he fancies a bit of argy-bargy with the USA. I think that's what this whole Ukraine nonsense is about. But I keep saying, I haven't met anybody who thinks it's a great idea to send in troops to the Ukraine. We've given them enough already. I'm with Trump, and that's where the country should be. Evening, Gaunty. Let's get the important questions out of the way. How's your seedlings? If you weren't listening last night, you won't know about this. I've suddenly gone all green fingers. I'm staying at my daughter's at the moment, and she asked me to look after the plants. And she's got these little trays upstairs in the room I'm sleeping in. It's like sleeping in a greenhouse. And she said, just move the lids, and the seedlings will come up. I thought, oh, yeah, they're all going to die. I can see me being in real trouble here. Anyway, I've given them some water and they've gone. They're all going like mad. And today, the big news today is every tray has now got a piece of green coming out of it. Every single, touch wood, it looks like I've got the touch. I've got the Midas touch. And I found out what she's growing. It's stuff like coriander, parsley, dope. No, there's something else as well. What's that? That's that thing I really love. Taste of aniseed. You know what I mean. Can't remember. It'll come back to me. Cucumbers are in there. Chilies I discovered today. They're great. So, yes, I've been doing that. So that's what I've been doing. But, yeah, that's the news. Come Monday, if they're all still alive, I'm going to show you a tray of them. Because I'm doing the show from here Monday and Tuesday. Then I'll be back at my own place. The UK now needs to race towards a trade deal, John, says Dormston, with the US. 100%, you're correct. We also need to tell companies in the EU who want to trade with the US, we're now open for business too. Farage offered to help again today. Yes, he did. And I'm saying we should take up that offer, right? We should take up that offer, right? Why not? But certainly we should be going to these companies and saying, relocate to us, just doing the Irish thing in reverse. We don't owe them anything. Jackie Ward, Cameron was a big disappointment when he resigned. Yes, he was. I never understood why he took sides. He could have offered the vote and said he would carry out the will of the people. That's what he did say, but he didn't do that, did he? Because he's an establishment figure. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want. I do question whether these people are truly patriotic. This is Jackie's comment here. Sorry, I should have put it up earlier. Anyway, she goes on to say, instead he jumped on the Remain side and then ran with his tail between his legs when it went the other way. Massive mistake, Cameron. I met David Cameron many times. I actually thought he was all right. For a knob, I thought he was quite a nice bloke. Anyway, where are we now? I hope you're paying your keep to your daughter too, Gaunty. You've been there long enough. What do you mean paying my keep? I'm doing everything. I'm cleaning the house. I'm walking the dog. I'm feeding the dog. I'm worried about the dog. I'm looking after the seedlings. I'm cheap at half the price. Talking of cheap, here we are. Dave Whiteman, £1. This is the guy who said last night I should lower my contribution level. Well, if you want to donate £1, mate, feel free. If you want to come over like that, you feel free. I'll take it. I'm not gonna get on a high moral horse, but it's kind of like not really on, is it? But never mind. Nigel Gordon says, what's he say? Thatcher almost slept with Reagan to keep the USA on side. Okay, thank you very much indeed. You're right. In a way, that was like a romance. There used to be a poster, didn't there? A mock-up of Gone with the Wind, and it was Mrs. Thatcher and Ronnie Reagan. I remember I hated both of them at the time because I was pro CND and I was on the miners' strike and all that on the picket line. And then so I saw that poster and I thought, because in that poster she said it says something like, he promised me he'd be with me to the end of the world, and then he told me what it'd be because it was CND or whatever. But do you know what? I was so wrong because bringing in the missiles to Greenham Common did protect us. It's a bit like Trump. Sometimes you got to be hard. You got to be tough. You got to give tough love. It's like all this nonsense at the moment about kids and their incels and all that. I don't really quite understand it. And that young boys are being neglected and that's why they're turning violent. And there's loads of people again on the right saying, I ain't going to watch that. I haven't seen it myself yet, by the way. What's it called? Adolescence. I am going to watch it. Maybe I'll watch a bit tonight. I don't know. It's 4 episodes. So I've just got to find the time. Maybe tomorrow I'll do it. But I'm not taking sides on it because I wouldn't judge something until I've actually seen it. But what I do know is that kids do need role models and we need more men in teaching. But I also know that young boys need a bit of tough love. I was telling you about Ken Cook, my PE teacher last night. You need someone who, if you give them cheek, you're going to get a smack, either metaphorically or literally. You do need that in young boys. And it's because they haven't got it. And many of these boys haven't got fathers on the scene. And I'm not blaming the mums. I never do. Because it's the feckless fathers who think that their responsibility to the child ends as they light up the cigarette. It doesn't. Look at me. Mine too are 13, 28, whatever it is. I'm still bloody looking after the dog. No, I love it. I love it. I met a woman today. She says, "Is that your dog?" I said, "No, it's my daughter's." Oh, you're so lucky to be able to look after that. Anyway, where are we now? Oh, he's back again. Dave Whiteman, £1. I think we're calling £1 Dave from now on. He says, "Super chat, super stickers works." Okay. I don't understand what it is. Is that on YouTube? But thank you for doing it. Maybe now you've done it once, as I said to my wife, would you like to do it again? Or maybe do it 4 times more, and then that'll be a £5. But you could convince yourself you only gave me £1. Where are we next? Seasider Mark. Starmer doesn't have the cards, as Trump would say, if he wants to play hardball with the US. You're so right. We can't get into a confrontation either about trade or anything else with the US. This is why for months I've been saying, let's work with them. That's why I said the coalition of the useless was a complete and utter waste of time. Because you couldn't do it, even if you all agreed to do something, which of course they didn't. Only one country, France, said they were willing to put boots on the ground with us. Fat lot how good they'd be. But they weren't going to do anything else. None of the other countries. So why wind up Trump? Why not just be nice to him and say, what can we do to help? Because it's in everyone's interest. We get a peace deal, isn't it, between Russia and Ukraine. And the BBC now, you see, they're in a bit of a tailspin. They don't really know how to report all this. And God help them if Nigel Farage did come on board and there was a deal. I mean, that's what I'd like to see Trump do now. I'd like Trump to say, I ain't doing a deal with you unless you invite Nigel Farage to be part of the negotiation team. Now, there's an idea. You see, because did you see, I was up early this morning, the dog gets me up. He licks the back of my neck. It's the most action I've had in the bedroom for the past year, I tell you. But he licks the back of my neck to wake me up. And I turn around, there he is, a big mushy face. And he doesn't say much. He only barks occasionally. And then that means he wants to go downstairs. So I take him downstairs. So I was down about, 5:30, 5:45. So I put the telly on. And the BBC didn't know what to say. And then later on, they had a thing where Starmer is doing a round table. That's his latest thing, isn't it? A round table. He was doing a round table with business people where they were discussing what to do next, right? And I just thought it was pathetic. And then he said a bit about, we're not going to be confrontation. We're not going to do this. But have you seen that look in his eyes at the moment? When we say we're going to do something, we do. It's like a rabbit as the Mercedes is just about to hit him on the motorway. In fact, I've seen rabbits with more confidence than Starmer. He knows he's messed up. He's finished. He really is finished. And God help us. We need a new leader. We need somebody. He should take lessons from Trump. Everything Trump did last night, even has anybody got in touch yet about Shoot? Was it Shoot magazine that had the little tabs, the different football clubs? Come on. You must know that. It was before Sky TV. It was brilliant. In fact, it was better than Sky TV. You made your own entertainment in those days. Then you played Sabutio. Anything with Sabutio was, you stood on the men, didn't you? Just like, like Eric Cantona did. But you stand on the men and it really hurts your feet. Not as bad as Lego bricks, but it was pretty rough. What's going on here? Dormston Cook says, here it is, £9.99 super sticker. I don't even know what these things are. Does that mean you've bought one? You've donated £9.99. If you have, Dormston, thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate it. Dave, £1 Dave's come back in again. He's on £2. Dave, are you going to get to a £5? I've only got another 3 minutes left. We'll see if you can. Anybody else want to do it? I don't know how you do it. It's on YouTube. You can just donate whatever you want to do. I don't even know how much they take for that. They probably take about 30%. I don't know. There you go, Gaunty. A bit of help towards your keep. Don't hang on a minute. That's Dunstan Cook. Don't start acting as if I'm a charity. Well, actually, I don't mind, actually. But don't start doing that. Dave Whiteman says, anyway, I'm going to eat the seedlings the way it's going. Nice one, Dunstan. Thank you very much indeed. I made myself my chili tuna pasta last night. Tremendous. Had enough left over. I'm having it for my supper tonight. Oh, God, I'm going so middle class. Me supper, me tea. Anyway, Evening John, this can go one of two ways. Either Starmer can get a better deal, oh yeah, or things could get worse for the UK. If it's not Starmer that will suffer, it's us, the British people. Starmer out, but who comes next? That's a really good point, and that is the big worry, isn't it? That is the big worry. Who would take over from Starmer? Because I don't see anyone on their benches who's any good. I really don't. But we do need, but that's why today I thought, well, I won't slag him off completely. I thought I'd give him a positive idea. And positive idea is, why don't you get Farage on the negotiation team? Why don't we try and get that 10 down to 0? Why don't we get rid of that 25%? That's going to be on things like salmon and luxury products. I think even, is it on Scotch whiskey as well? It's going to knacker some of our industries. And I just think we don't need to be in that position. Trump is open to a deal, but it's got to be a deal that he likes. And he doesn't like the EU. He actually said last night, well, we've been good to them, but they rip us off. And then he said again, they really rip us off. The president of America speaking like that does mean you have peed him off, doesn't it? Right? I don't think he's playing games. So let's be, and also this is where I thought some people would pick up on the terrorist thing. You haven't yet. But, the fact that we're going to have a terrorist back on the street, Captain Hook. You remember Aberhanza? He hated our country so much. He still managed to pick his dole up every other Thursday. And then he had a special person to help wipe his bottom. Do you remember? That was typical of where this country's got to. It's like that other idiot. What's his name? Amjam Ramajam Chowdhury. Do you remember him? I interviewed him several times. I remember once he came in and he said, Lorraine, who was my producer, she was Irish from Luton. She was a great kid. Woman. She was a great person, great producer. She went to shake his hand and he just looked at her. Then he looked at me and said, tell the Kaffir I don't shake hands with non-believers. She leant over and she said, tell that effing that I don't want him on our show. Get out. Right? Did it through me. Brilliant. And right. Who does he think he is? But how long did it take us to get him locked up? It just was so soft on these people. So soft. Ruda Kekabana, whatever his name is. 3 times they missed the opportunity to lock up that nutcase. 3 times. First time was when he was 13. It's just mad. And now we're letting a terrorist who wanted to kill us all, we're letting him walk the streets again because there's nothing we can do. I'd find something to do. I'd give him to the Yanks. The Yanks want to question him. There you go. What about my human rights? They might kill me. They might execute me. Tough shit, mate. You should have thought about that. That would be my reaction. It's like these ones who suddenly think, say, oh, I'm gay and I can't be sent back to Jamaica, man, because they hate homosexuals and they'll kill me. Tough shit. You should have thought about that before you mugged or raped women. Oh, by the way, I thought you were gay. And we put up with this nonsense. Yeah? We don't test how old they are. Easy to do with dental records. So we end up with 25-year-old blokes in a classroom, infant school, and we have to pretend it's just nonsense. Same with the trans lobby. It's all just garbage. If you're trans, I feel for you. I hope you can get some help. I hope you get sorted out. But, I'm not going to change my whole way of thinking just because of you. No, I'm not. Anyway, that's me finished. Be careful. Oh, so Seasider Mark. What's this now? He's had a go at this as well. Is that the same thing? $4.99. Is that on YouTube as well? People are just spending money like it's going out of Justice. What about £1 Mark? Where's he now? He's at £2, isn't he? Be careful what you wish for, Gaunty. If Keir Starmer does get ousted, Khan will be next in line. That would be disastrous, in my opinion. Not as bad as Angela Rayner. Did you see her today on the telly? She introduced Starmer. They were launching their local election manifesto. I wanted to shout at the telly and say, I wouldn't bother, love, because you're going to get wiped out in the local elections. Ooh, what's that coming over the hill? It's a monster. Well, that was a good song. What's that? Who was that by? But it's Nigel Farage, and he's going to whoop your ass. What we've got here. So, nice one, Mark, says Dave. £1 Dave's back. What's next? We're doomed. We're all doomed. John, thank you very much. Seaside Mark's giving me a thumbs up. There he is. There he is. Yeah, I'm getting better at this, aren't I? There we are. Thank you very much indeed, Mark, for your donation. You're a top man. The judge needs to explain his rationale for releasing him back into the community. I bet he's a typical liberal, left-leaning, woke judge. Well, I'm sure they all are, aren't they? But yeah, you're right. But they don't, because that's why we should elect judges like they do in the States. Don't like them, get rid of them. But at the moment, it's ridiculous. They're a law unto themselves, if you pardon the pun. I'm a cheapskate from Woodend in Coventry. That's your lot, Gaunty. £2. That's all I'm worth. £2. Are you listening, dog? I'm only worth £2. He says, shut up, I'm asleep. Anyway, right, so that's me done. The central message of tonight's programme is, please, let's all pray that they bring Farage on. Let's pray they bring him on. That's what I want to see happen. And then I think we'll get a deal where it's zero. Just a reciprocal deal. Because that's no skin off his nose, because we're not a big manufacturing country anymore. It's Germany, isn't it, with their Mercs. The amount of Mercs and Audis you see in the United States is incredible. You don't really see many British cars. You do see the occasional Jag, obviously, not for much longer. Although maybe people in California would like that new one. If you understand what I mean. Anyway, so I'm finished. Steve says, best off buying a beer, YouTube will take a percentage. Yeah, well, they do take a percentage. But the coffee people do as well, but it's a very small percentage. Listen, I don't care. If you want to help out, that's really kind of you. It really is kind of you. And it does help, because it means all I have to do is concentrate on doing this and growing my seedlings. Have a great weekend, Ormston Cook says. Okay, just to let you know there, I'm doing Monday to Thursday, 4 nights a week at this time at 7. It doesn't mean I won't do ones over the weekend, especially this weekend, because I'm on my own and I've only got the dog to talk to. And the problem is there's lots of news happening. So when something's happening, you may find some extra shows, and I'll either do them self-contained and not open the lines to you, but I'll publicise them. So, and the best way to find out if I'm doing anything is to join my YouTube page. Subscribe to it. It's free, that bit. Subscribe to it, then you'll get an alert when I'm going to go live. Your 7 o'clock slot is awkward as it clashes with Farage and GB News. He hardly ever does that show anymore, but you understand what you mean, Jackie. But tough shit. I can't work out my schedule to fit him in. You could record him and watch later, or you could record me and watch it later. Do you know what I mean? No disrespect to Nigel. He's a brilliant politician. He's quite a good broadcaster, but he's not quite in my league, is he? And I think even he'd admit that. What's this? Daz Wellings, £3 super sticker. Daz, top man. That your £3 and his £2. I got a £5 off the cheapskates. Thank you. And then Steve, to finish off, when you're getting guests in, John, the week after next. But there won't be a guest every night because I'm usually better than them. But we will have them. But maybe the week after next. Once I'm back, Lisa's just been sorting out my room, actually, to make it easier to do. And so I'll get the green screen up again. Then I can get the technology working and have guests, not in my room, but I'll have them down the line in vision. So that's probably when I do it. But I don't want to fall into this trap. I wouldn't mind trying to do guests and sort of do long form interviews with them. I've got a whole list of people I want to talk to, and of course, got a good contact book. So I will do that eventually. But very much because of where I was and because I was so poorly, I've tried to take this nice, slow and steady. Yeah. Dave Whiteman, he's back. He's a glutton for punishment. He says, "Nice one, Daz." From Woodend, he's encouraging everyone else. Dave, you're a star. And I'm glad you're taking it with a pinch of salt that I'm taking the mickey out of you. It's very kind of you. Ever thought, oh, here we go. Dunstan Cook's getting carried away. Ever thought of inviting some of you regulars? Well, when we do the live shows, you can come along to a live show and I'll have you on then. I did a tour. I did 2 tours. I loved it. I really loved it. I'd like to do that, but I'm nowhere near. I've not got enough following at the moment. I've not got enough money. You know, I'm building this, right? That's likewise why I'm not doing any telly. I have been offered a bit of telly, guest slots. I don't particularly want to do that. You know what I mean? Although maybe I could do the cash. I don't want to leave my seedlings. That's Dunstan Cook says, "Come to Leeds." Oh no, that's thumbs up. I thought it said come to Leeds. No, Steve says come to Leeds, John. Let me tell you a story about that. I went to Leeds last time. I went to that theatre where they used to do the good old days. Sold it out. It's not a big achievement. It only holds about 200 people. But what a night we had there. And I tell you who came to see the show. Chris Kamara and his missus. This is years ago. What a nice guy. He was a number 1 fan. Oh, I think the wife was the number 1 fan, and she dragged him along. It was lovely. It was amazing being there. Remember that bloke? Not Leonard Ross. What was his name? The guy who did the good old days. Used all those big long words. He was brilliant. And it was just so amazing to think this fat lad from the back end, the raggy-arsed end of Radford in Coventry. I'm playing the Leeds. That's it. It's called the Leeds Variety Hall or something, isn't it? I don't know if it's still there. It should be. It was a great little venue. Anyway, that's me done. You've got me reminiscing. Leave it out. I've got things to do. I shall speak to you on Monday. I might do something over the weekend. Get registered on YouTube because then you'll know when I'm doing it. And thank you. Genuinely now, joking apart, I can't believe that people have been donating money while I've been live on air. That's very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. But keep it quiet. Don't tell Lisa. I want to go for early doors beer tomorrow. That's another reason why I'm not doing it on a Friday. I do love early doors on a Friday. And even here, I've got a village around here. And I've met him a few times. And he's got a little scruffy dog. And I met him in the street yesterday. And he says, "You coming to early doors?" He doesn't even know my name. He doesn't know who I am. I don't know who he is. And I said, "Yeah, okay, that's a nice invitation." So that's what I'm going to do. So I can even get early doors here. I usually do early doors in Coventry, in Earlston. But City are playing tomorrow night, aren't they? So I want to get back in time to watch football. "I've met you once and you're a great man, Gaunty," says Steve. Oh, he says it was in Leeds when you were signing books. Oh, dear. The most valuable books of mine are the ones that haven't got a signature. Anyway, see you soon. See you Monday. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya. I'm coming now to do your tea. Shut up. See ya.